First thing we'll get into is the 3-lug device. It's ours. We don't make the 3-lug mount. We utilize an adapter ring so that the AAC triad will fit, or you can have the Gemtech multi-mount device will fit direct. You don't have to have the adapter ring if you have a multi-mount, the 3-lug device for it. The only things we run into with these devices is 3-lug barrel is made by Tross on a 9mm AR-15 barrel blank, and it has the 3-lug integrally machined into the barrel to mimic an H&K MP5 3-lug nose cone, and it fits into the housing, and then it'll compress, and you'll rotate it, and it'll lock in place. And this one doesn't have any play because we've most likely made that inner sleeve to fit this barrel to this housing. These have a lot of play built into it. Well, they have play built into them. They don't have a lot of play, but they have tolerance. They have to deliberately build into these to offset for or to counteract machining issues that they've seen in the past. There'll be tolerances from the factories of the guns, and you have to be able to put the parts together, so that sleeve has to be able to slide, it has to float, and because of all that, you need play in there in between the sleeve and the housing and the sleeve and the barrel. Well, too much allows this thing to do this, so when you lock it on and the weight of the cans in there, it'll drop down slightly and you'll get baffle strikes. So if you're running 3-lug barrels like this, and your device feels sloppy, and it, this one, when it locks on, there's not much play in it. I can deliberately rock it, but I have to push hard. It's actually on there pretty good. There's you can hear it clicking. But it has to have some or it won't fit. So look out for that. If there's more than about 2/1000 play between the barrel and the sleeve, in the housing, get with us. We'll make you a new insert, a new floating piston in here, and it'll fit a lot better. We'll still have enough tolerance that it'll go together and come apart, but it won't be sloppy. That way you can still use it. This device is what started out being called a Nielsen device. A gentleman, I'm assuming by the name of Nielsen, invented this days gone by. What you got in here is a rear cap that holds an assembly inside this booster. I'll get this to come out. It's a little snug. You got this. Okay. You have a spring that pushes this piston back to the front of this housing. This piston and this assembly allows for the use of semi-automatic pistols. If you'll notice, if you'll watch this barrel, when I move this slide, it moves to the rear and drops down. See that? That motion is generated by recoil of the gun. When the bullet leaves the barrel, it creates a rocket motor out of the barrel. It shoves the barrel back and unlocks the slide. When it moves down to that point, the slide clears the barrel and allows the slide to travel to the rear. And the inertia slings it to the rear, ejecting the cement casing, picking up a live round, yada, yada, yada. Alright, to get to these guns with moving barrels to work, you have to have recoil. Silencers remove recoil. That's bad. So to put the recoil back, man came up with this. Pretty much everybody in the world uses something along this principle to generate the recoil for the system, so it'll work now. Now put the piston back in the bottom, drop the spring back in, put the cap back on. Now there's O-rings in there, it seals it all up and keeps everything in nice and clean alignment. What you want to do on these is make sure of the barrel. I got two different barrels out of two different guns here. This one's out of a Glock, this one's out of an H&K P30. And these barrels are threaded. This one never had apparently been available with a threaded barrel. So someone has sent this one off, again, maybe you can see it in the video, and had an extension added to the barrel. That in and of itself isn't bad. If it's done correctly, that'll work just fine and you'll not have any trouble out of it. Where the issue comes in is this little bitty shoulder right here that the suppressor stops against. We call it a torque shoulder here at the shop, because you torque the silencer against that shoulder to keep it from shooting loose. That's our in-house name. But it's what's wrong with this one is this shoulder has a burr rolled on it on this side right here, because one of the pistons that he has shot on this in the past, whether it be some competitors or maybe one of ours, the counter bore, or it had a countersink on the end, like this fixed barrel adapter has, is where it's been. We cut a slight countersink on it to make it where it'll start on the threads easier. It doesn't have a sharp burr on that edge. Well, that countersink ran up onto that barrel instead of stopping against it square. When it does that, it'll skew it off axis. It'll push. It'll cut a burr on it. There's rolled a pretty bad burr on that side, right there. You can feel it with your finger. And when it does that, it just drives it off axis. So then the silencer screws on like this. This is exaggerated for the video, but it'll come out and breach and it'll roll it off axis, and you'll get baffle strikes guaranteed. What we try to recommend is that people have at least 40 thousandths wall there. 30 is pushing your luck, but 40 or more is always better. This Glock barrel has about 45 thousandths. It's like 590 across this barrel. This one works great. This HK barrel measures right at 550 behind the thread, so that's 25 thousandths of a wall. Give you an idea of about how thin that is. Typical sheet of notebook paper is about 3 or 4 thousandths, so about 8 sheets of notebook paper stacked up. That's all the thickness there you've got to work with. It's not much, and you have to have a way of breaching this barrel. You just can't let it float on the threads. So what we do to solve for that is we make a special piston that's threaded shallower, not deep like this one, and that allows you to breach on the end of the barrel instead of on this shoulder. So what you need to do is to measure this, or to ask your gunsmith, or if you have any questions, you can pull the barrel out of the gun and mail it to us and we'll just check it. But if you don't think you have enough shoulder on this here to breach that suppressor properly, then you need to get with us. The only two I've ever seen in half 28 that did this was this H&K P30. It's an aftermarket threading job. And like I said, it's a good job. It's nice and straight and square, and everything looks good on it. And the SIG P226, I think it was an S4 edition, has a really thin barrel. I guess it's a lightweight version or something, and it doesn't have hardly any torque shoulder at all. So if you don't think you have enough shoulder, then call us and we'll talk about it. We can get it measured one way or the other to find out how thick that barrel is to get you the right device. But by and large, half 28 normally has plenty of threads. Like the metric guns, almost all of them breach on the end of the barrel, and they cut the threads special just for that job. That 13.501 metric left hand, it always breaches on the muzzle. And all of those boosters are always threaded just for that job. Excuse me. Next thing we'll talk about is the fixed barrel mount. The fixed barrel mount is used to attach the suppressor module to carbines. Carbines have fixed barrels, and since the barrel doesn't move in a carbine, as you can see, there's no parts on this. This will be bolted to the frame of the gun, and then it would just typically be threaded on the end. I would say 96 or 98% of the carbines out there are threaded and don't have this quick attach system on it. Maybe more than that with the advent of AR-15s. So you use this threaded in here. It screws in the can and it screws on the gun. You tighten it up. Since the barrel doesn't move, you don't rely on recoil, so you can eliminate all of these moving parts in this and use this fixed mount. And that works really great on carbines. That eliminates, the more moving parts you can eliminate, the more true your alignment will be. you don't have all them floating parts that you have to build in tolerance and all that. We register on that good tight square shoulder with the inside of the can, and everybody's happy. You can see we got a real large register surface here we breach against. But you'll use these on carbines, or if you want to use it on your pistol, it'll shoot, but you'll have to walk the slide manually. It won't extract. It's going to kill your recoil impulse, and your gun's not going to cycle. Some people like that. That way they can shoot if they're maybe at an indoor range and they have the 1 round per second or 1 round every 2 second rule at that range. You can't do rapid fire anyway. Then you fire. You work the slide into your range dump bag for your empty brass. You only have to pick your brass up. You just open your range bag up, rack the slide into it, pick your target up, and fire again. And it works great for that purpose. So there's people that'll buy the fixed barrel mounts just for that reason. But if you're going to where you can actually shoot and you want to have fun, most people want the booster so that they can run it on there. But if there's anything I've missed as far as attachments go, just shoot me an email, or maybe even give Stu or Rob a call, and we'll get you answered up. But yeah, if you have a half 28 barrel and you can tell it's obviously been modified, you might want to have it checked for size before you just buy the generic booster, because that shoulder may be too thin. Just to be on the safe side, just have it checked. But if you have any more questions, just give us a call, or look us up on www.libertycans.net or libertysuppressors.com, and we'll get you hooked up. Thank you very much, and have a good day.